what if when you filed for divorce, you knew that your spouse would get 50-50 custody? Would that affect your decision? Kentucky has a law where 50-50 is the default. Now, obviously, there are exceptions if there's, domestic violence or whatever, but the default is 50-50. So not like Detroit where the default is every other weekend. If you knew your ex was going to get the kids 50% of the time right off, would that affect your decision to file for divorce? Why or why not?
Some women and women's advocates in Kentucky are upset with the state's 2018 law, which establishes 50-50 shared custody as default for the divorces. Y'all check out the intro, and when we come back, we crack open why these women are so upset. Now we know straight off the rip why they're upset. Because now we take the incentive to being married, we take that away. Now it's no guaranteed. It's no guarantee that when you get a divorce, you get everything. And why is that the women get everything? Because in the best interest of the child, they reward the custody of the children, because that's where the money come in at, fellas. The money come in at when you have a baby with them. You know what I mean? When you have a baby with one of these girls and they not the right woman, understand you put yourself back in slavery. This is why we have so many men running around here just can't get rid of the hate for the other race, because they're still in slavery, mental slavery and financial slavery, because child support is slavery. When you lay down with a female, y'all agree to have unprotected you-know-what for the pleasure. Don't none of y'all agree to be a mother. She don't want to be a mother. You don't want to be a dad. And if y'all do, then y'all should be ashamed of yourself. If you lay down wanting to be a dad and you got a problem like this in front of you, you should be ashamed of yourself. Ladies, if you laid down before you was taking care of the water bills, the light bills, all that stuff that y'all use the child support for, if you lay down with a man and you ain't got nothing and you ain't taking care of those on your own, by yourself, unprotected, then you should be ashamed of yourself. Needing child support, that's an L. And that automatically lets you know y'all gotta pick better. But in any event, they automatically award the kids to the females. And in a lot of the states, New York need to do this. New York need to do exactly what Kentucky do, because they say the best interest of the child. And we know that the best interest of the child is equal parenting time, 50-50 equal parenting time. But you see that the scam is these women, they make believe as if because the man gotta work, or because the man, they act like if the man, because he don't have the child, they should just get the money. They should get the man's money to raise the man kid instead of just giving the kid to the man. Now these women done made up some old craziness talking about because it puts the child at risk. So now they're gonna paint the father that they laid down with and had this child with as an animal and as a monster. So let's get into some videos and we'll come back.
Divorce rates are dropping in Kentucky. I went there to figure out why.
This is great. The Wall Street Journal letting people know about an equality law that is sweeping the nation.
In 2018, Kentucky became the first state to make 50-50 shared custody the default. That means that children split their time equally between both parents, and fathers pay less in child support the more time that they spend with their children.
This reporter has already started badly. She is pointing out a common sexual bias. 50-50 custody can also be better for a mother.
Before that, judges decided custody based on what they called the best interest of the child. Fathers said that usually relegated them to an every other weekend arrangement, the so-called Disneyland dad effect, while mothers got to spend most of the time with their children.
In a majority of states across the country, one parent usually gets a much bigger block of custody with the children. We know now this actually hurts children and is not backed by science.
If you are a fit and willing father living in Georgia, you have a 23% chance of getting 50-50 custody based on just the law.
Even forward-leaning states like Washington are some of the most backwards. An amazing fit father in that state only has a 23% chance of 50-50 based on the law.
Since the law passed, divorce rates have dropped. Between 2016 and 2023, divorces in the state fell 25%, compared to 18% nationwide.
You just quoted survey data that started 2 years before the law was changed. And why are divorce rates dropping a bad thing? Where are you going?
It's hailed as a victory for fathers' rights, but the story is more complicated. Some critics of the law say that people are staying in abusive marriages because they're afraid of leaving their children alone with a parent with a history of violence.
The legislature specifically carved out an exception. Parents don't get 50-50 if there is verified domestic abuse or neglect. And
Women staying in abusive marriages is not the cause of divorce rates falling. In 45 other states without this law, there was also an 18% drop.
One mom told me that her husband nearly killed her in 2023. She filed criminal charges and he was arrested. But less than 2 weeks after he got out of jail, a judge awarded him 50% custody of their son, indicating that the abuse wasn't a factor since he didn't lay hands on the child.
An anecdotal fallacy is a logical error where a personal experience or a single isolated example is used as evidence to support a claim, rather than using sound arguments or compelling data.
The law has become a model for other states. Arkansas, West Virginia, Florida, and Missouri have passed their own versions of the equal custody presumption. Around 20 other states are considering it.
the law is gender neutral. There are safeguards built to protect children. These laws are supported by decades of science.
Equal time with both parents is better for children.
Yeah.
Unless there is violence.
Yeah.
But only 1 in 33 marriages have domestic violence.
Mm-hmm. A New York study published on the CDC website says that domestic violence occurs in less than 3% of cases. This is like burning down the orchard to get rid of a few bad apples.
You don't punish the 32, you safeguard the children and the law.
Mm-hmm.
But fear-mongering that the law is bad is not accurate.
I must admit, I agree with the judge. A lot of people are saying this is a win for men, but this is a win for women, and especially black women, because black women are taught to keep them kids attached to their hip for this very reason right here, because the kids represent the money. So now if we start normalizing kids and not kids as property and means to a gain, maybe the women will start making better decisions and they will start being about themselves, because 50-50 allows the woman a chance to go get the money. She don't gotta extort the dad no longer. She can let the dad do what he gotta do, and she can now take her time and her free time and get the money the right way. She don't gotta sell her soul and be cheap with it. She can go get the money the right way. And we need to normalize this in our culture, because this is frowned upon in our culture. The minute a kid go too long with his dad, you got a group of old women, the grandmothers, telling the daughter to go get your baby, go get your child, like if that kid is not half of the dads. So we definitely need to bring this to our community. I know it's in Kentucky, but we need to bring this to New York, to our communities, to our cities. Everybody should be on this wave right here. And of course, you see the women, they're not liking this, because this takes that come up away from them. So this is also why so many men is in jail, false accusations, and this is why you see every time it's divorce time, you see a domestic situation. You see it with the stars, guys. You see these celebrities, they always got to start something domestic. You saw the what was the girl name? What is her? Not Tiffany Haddish, but the other ugly looking one running around here, and her man with the video recording. You saw it with Safari and his wife. They gotta paint the man out as the evil villain. You saw it with Jeannie Ma and Young Jeezy. And that's so that they can get the 100% custody, and whoever has the 100% custody has the access to the resources. When you eliminate it, the 100% custody, and you make it 50-50, then it takes away the incentive So, man, let me know how you guys feel about this in the comment section. Let's start the conversation, man. And if you're one of the females that do not like this, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, but obviously this is statistics. This is going off of statistics. This is based off of stats and data, and we need to change up. It ain't been working. Whatever we've been doing, it ain't haven't been working. So let's not balk at change. Change is good and it's necessary. Understand that, right? In the best interest of the child, that's based off feelings. There's no stats and data behind that. So it should have never been rewarded to you guys when in the Bible, in our basic instructions, the custody should be with the dad. Yes, y'all should do the nurturing. I'm not saying women is not important in the raising of these kids. That's not what I'm saying. So don't put words in my mouth, because women have to do the nurturing. They are given the breast milk, and they're given the biology they're given for a reason. But at some point, ladies, you got to learn how to share. You got to share the ball. You got to pass the rock. And Kentucky got them passing the rock, y'all. So let's take this to the comment section. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
So in Kentucky, the new legal default is to have 50-50 shared custody in cases of divorce or separation. So if divorce rates are going down, I can think of a number of reasons why that would be a positive thing. Maybe there's increased access to mental health care. Maybe there's more support for parental leave or childcare.
You mentioned before that divorce law has historically favored women. Why do you think there's been this shift in this other direction in Kentucky?
To be honest, I think that, like I said, it's this reaction to this perception that women tend to be favored, but it's also just not taking into account that if the divorce rate is going down, it might very well be because women are feeling increasingly disenfranchised in this political environment. And there is a real danger that the divorce rate is going down because it's harder for women to leave.